side, might go in the tech. Where you from? Refund check, blow it, get it back, peeling off. Am I wrong if I say I wanna put my city on? Am I wrong if I say I really did it on my own? Yeah, I get it. Get it, get it, get it, Look at that one, I've been in the
quarterbacks now, and Reese, you know as well as anybody. College kids now get paid. They're professional. They're getting paid. They're commercials. They're out there. You got to deal with that. If you're the NFL, you got to deal with that. Okay? He's saying whatever he's saying behind closed doors. What's he saying? I want to be the guy. I should be this. I should be that. Deion's saying he's the best player in the draft. He's best quarterback, second best to Travis Hunter. Best quarterback. Who is it? What quarterback out there didn't think they should have been a high first-round pick?
Again, nobody's criticizing what happened. We're saying he has to deal with the reality of the result from it.
Correct.
That's all. 144 Sanders, everybody wishes him well, as we do.
For Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, all I can say is I think it's disgusting. I don't understand what the heck's going on with this. Fifth player on my board. It's never happened before in 47 years where a player that high has dropped this far into the fourth round at quarterback. That's sitting there in round four with other quarterbacks being taken who aren't as good as Shedeur, aren't even close, in my opinion, in terms of accuracy, toughness. Arm strength is certainly more than good enough. I don't see, outside of not being have the rocket arm and the 4.6 speed and the big frame, the 6'3", 230-pound frame, what is he lacking? Somebody's going to have to explain that one to me. Fourth round, Kirk Cousins went. Fourth round, Dak Prescott went. Worked out pretty good for them. It's just that Shedeur was projected a lot higher than they were. That's why we're having this discussion.
Yes, sir. You just found it. Intercourse with you. Let's chat. Welcome to the Intercourse Show. I am your host, Mr. B. Today we have a very exciting show for you. We are discussing the Shedeur Sanders debacle. Shedeur Sanders is the son of Deion Sanders, the Hall of Fame NFL player who obviously has had an amazing career, and he's been coaching his son since they were in Little League. His son, his youngest of his three sons, was projected to be a first-round draft pick going into the NFL draft, and unfortunately, for whatever reason that no one can understand, he fell down to being a mid-fifth round draft pick, and it caused a lot of stir. One of the media analysts, Mel Kiper, apparently had a meltdown about it, and Jason Whitlock, who's a notorious hater, he weighed in. So let's get my hat off, let's get comfortable, and let's go ahead and weigh in on this.
Look at that one, I've been in the sun, I've been there, do that. All outside, got all of my pride, won't tuck my chain.
And it ended, this is the kind of ended Mel's whining where he went on this rant about how clueless the NFL has been about the quarterback. But I want to start with Mel Kiper and some of his whining. And it ended, this is the kind of ended Mel's whining where he went on this rant about how clueless the NFL has been about the quarterback position. Let's play shot number 5.
Boomer Esiason was not happy when he was a second-round pick.
Tom Brady was not happy.
They dropped. How'd they turn out?
And you know what? Nobody's arguing that can happen.
The NFL has been clueless for 50 years when it comes to evaluating quarterback. Clueless. No idea what they're doing in terms of evaluating quarterback. That's proof. There's proof of that. They say we know exactly what we're talking about with quarterback. They don't. Quarterbacks now, and Reese, you know as well as anybody, college kids now get paid. They're professional. They're getting paid. They're commercials. They're out there. You got to deal with that. If you're the NFL, you got to deal with that. Okay? He's saying whatever he's saying behind closed doors. What's he saying? I want to be the guy. I should be this. I should be that. Deion's saying he's the best player in the draft. He's best quarterback, second best to Travis Hunter. Best quarterback. Who is it? What quarterback out there didn't think they should have been a high first-round pick?
Again, nobody's criticizing what happened. We're saying he has to deal with the reality of the result from it.
Correct.
That's all. 144 Sanders, everybody wishes him well, as we do.
I want to play one more Mel Kiper deal where he calls this, what happened to Shedeur, disgusting. Let's play shot number 6.
For Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, all I can say is I think it's disgusting. I don't understand what the heck's going on with this. fifth player on my board. It's never happened before in 47 years where a player that high has dropped this far into the fourth round at quarterback. That's sitting there in round 4 with other quarterbacks being taken who aren't as good as Shedeur, aren't even close, in my opinion, in terms of accuracy, toughness. Arm strength is certainly more than good enough. I don't see, outside of not being have the rocket arm and the 4.6 speed and a big frame, the 6'3", 230-pound frame, what is he lacking? Somebody's going to have to explain that one to me. Fourth round, Kirk Cousins went. Fourth round, Dak Prescott went. Worked out pretty good for them. It's just that Shedeur was projected a lot higher than they were. That's why we're having this discussion.
Projected a lot higher by Mel Kiper and a few others that were all participating in this Deion Sanders-inspired lie and manipulation. But Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott that went in the fourth round, those are great analogies for Shedeur. He's got, I'm not sure if he's got Dak Prescott's athleticism, but it's probably right in between Dak and Kirk Cousins in terms of athleticism. And then arm strength is right in between Dak and Kirk Cousins. Those are great analogies. So Shedeur is a 4th, 5th round pick. Time you throw in the baggage and the circus of Shedeur Sanders and how toxic all of these race baiters, all these so many tears guys, all these troublesome people on ESPN. He's not worth the headache. He's a 4th round talent with 1st round headaches. Deion Sanders was a headache, but he had incredible talent. And he played a different position. But what happened to Shedeur is like before he even got into the league, he was Colin Kaepernick and he was Tim Tebow, someone with a traveling circus. And people didn't want to be involved in that. And how ESPN refuses to discuss that aspect of it is mind-blowing. This is the problem with the mainstream media. They always lie. They always avoid the hard truths. This is so obvious what happened to Shedeur. And the worldwide leader in sports, just think about that. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, with no one willing to effectively and appropriately and aggressively stand up to Mel Kiper and tell the truth. And I know Reese Davis did a nice job doing the best that he could. But if you're going to let Mel Kiper on your airwaves to shill for Deion Sanders and Shedeur in this way, they needed someone on the air that was be like, hey, Mel, the NFL, they've been screwing up quarterback drafts for 50 years? Mel, you're the guy that compared Jamarcus Russell to John Elway. Mel, you're the guy that said you would retire if Jimmy Clausen wasn't an NFL star within 8 years. You're the guy that was super high on Achilles Smith. You're the guy that had 4 other quarterbacks ranked ahead of Patrick Mahomes. It seems like everybody, including Mel Kiper, have been screwing up quarterback evaluations forever. But they let Mel make a fool of themselves and all of ESPN for 3 straight days. How? Why? Does Mel Kiper have compromising photos on everybody at ESPN? Not one they don't have an executive? I mean, I'm saying this not out of cancel culture. I'm not saying this out of cancel culture, but a smart, wise executive at ESPN would have pulled Mel Kiper off air this weekend for making a joke of ESPN's draft coverage, because it started round 1. Cam Ward drafted, and they sat on air talking about Shedeur Sanders. There's more conversation about the black quarterback that went in the 5th round than the black quarterback that went 1st overall. Because ESPN has been lying about Shedeur for 2 years. They were unable, unwilling, refused to pivot off the lies that they told. This has been going on in the media space for years and years and years. And everything, this whole race bait, racial division deal, it's all been coming from the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN. And instead of acknowledging, like, you're completely out of line with sports. Sports bring us together. ESPN is using sports to tear us apart. No one over at ESPN, Jimmy Pitaro, Dave Roberts, I don't know, Burke Magnus, if he's still there, none of these people have the courage to say, hey, enough is enough. We are part of the racial division apparatus in America. This is immoral what ESPN is doing. They're taking something like sports that we've used for decades to bring us together, to advance racial harmony, and now they're using it the exact opposite way. And they have Black people and Mel Kiper, who I believe is Jewish, leading the bandwagon of tearing the races apart. No one can say anything. No one can stand up to this. I just want to repeat because I'm about to play you some Stephen A. Smith clips, but I've told you on this show, the Young Men's Christian Association, the YMCA, in the late 1800s, they organized sports. They wanted a masculine Christianity. And so they organized sports. Organized sports, founded by Christians. The CYO, the Catholic Youth Organization, in the early 1900s, they were the leaders in using sports to bring the races together. There would be no Jackie Robinson without the CYO. I've walked you through this history. To watch people completely tear out the Christian biblical founding in sports mirrors the exact same process that we're going through in terms of trying to remove the biblical founding out of the Constitution. You can see everything that's going on in American culture through the lens of sports. They mirror each other. There are groups trying to tear us apart through sports, through racial division. It's not Christian. And it's not Christians. And I don't care how often Ryan Clark and Stephen A. Smith pretend like they're Christian.
So there you have it. That was Jason Whitlock sharing his opinion on Mel Kiper's take pertaining to Shedeur Sanders. Fortunately, I disagree with Jason Whitlock. While he does at times make some valid points on certain topics, some political topics and things, Jason Whitlock is a notorious hater. He is known for just being critical of anybody that he's low-key envious of. He's envious of the favor that I guess Stephen A. Smith has received for his career, so he attacks him. He's envious of the fact that him and Deion Sanders are, both the same age, but somehow Deion Sanders gets all the girls. Has had a phenomenal career, and he's oftentimes comparing himself to Deion Sanders and saying guys who is his age should not act like Deion Sanders acts, saying that he's the real Christian and Deion Sanders is not. He's the one who somehow is a major reform, even though he refers to himself as a degenerate and has come from that. But for whatever reason, Deion Sanders can't be a guy who's reformed his life and who's given himself to Christ and who's a positive example for Christ, who's a decent coach, who's doing anything good. Deion Sanders, in his view, can never do anything good. Although I have to give it to his credit, I've seen some clips where he did give Deion Sanders some props on some things, especially when Deion turned that program around from like a 2 or 3 win team, 3 or 4 win team to like an 8, 9, 10 win team last year. So he had to eat his words. And I think it bothers him now even more that Deion's kids are now in the spotlight. Now sort of they're good kids, really. They don't get into any trouble. But for the most part, they are a little flashy, just like their father. And apparently that irks this guy. And I believe that's where a lot of his takes are skewed. And it's hard for people to give him any credibility because he has this inherent bias about these people that he talks to. I think the job of a journalist should be somewhat unbiased. You don't have a dog in the fight. You're just reporting the news. You're presenting the different arguments on both sides, and you stay directly in the middle. In this guy's case, he does have an opinion, and his opinion is always critical. And it's hard for him to ever acknowledge or to give credit when credit is due. And that's why he's flawed in the ways that he assesses certain things. But I think the negative attention gets his channel some views, and so he continues to do it because I think that's one of the only ways he remains relevant is by being critical of certain people. Now, specifically with regards to Shedeur Sanders, my take is that he was done dirty. My take is that he was a top-tier quarterback who was really projected to be a top pick. I'm talking top 5 pick in the draft. And he descended all the way down to the 5th round. And it's not because teams didn't need him. Now, I think Colin Cowherd made a very, very good point about Shedeur and Deion kind of bringing this issue on. And I do recall during the college football season where Deion did make a statement about how his son is not going to go to any NFL team. And there are certain teams that they would walk away from, they wouldn't accept offers from. And I think when that statement was made, there is something to be said about it potentially turning some people off. And typically the people who pick first, the teams that pick first, are the worst teams in the league. The 2-3 win teams who didn't accomplish much the year prior are the ones who ultimately pick first so that they can beef up their programs and really kind of attract new talent so they can be competitive in the coming years. And I think Deion did send the message out there that he wasn't interested in his team being a part of some franchises. And for those lower franchises who would have the pick, if they know up front that, you know, the father is not going to endorse the decision, it could have played a part. And I think that's what Colin Cowherd brought to the table with his assessment, and I thought it was a valid point to make. And when he did bring that up, it triggered a thought that took me back to that press conference or to that video that I saw of Deion and having a discussion and saying that he doesn't see his son playing for any and everyone, but there's certain teams that he would be open for that. So I think that's more of a valid point, but it still takes nothing away from the dude's talent. He was a great leader when it came to, galvanizing the crew and getting everyone ready to perform at high levels. I think like 9 of the football players, mainly receivers, all got NFL jobs or drafted. Travis Hunter being a Heisman Award winner and also the 2nd pick in the draft. That's pretty big. I mean, it's an accomplishment for Deion. So hats off to him. And really, it speaks to the son because the son was the one throwing Travis the ball. The son was essentially the star who contributed towards Travis's success. So naturally, I think he should have shared in that spotlight. But it's unfortunate that guys like Jason Whitlock can't even see fit to give this kid the credit that is rightfully due to him. And that's where I take issue with Jason Whitlock. don't be a hater. To me, if you are a quote unquote Christian, the type of Christian, the new covenant Christian, should not be the ones who's constantly pointing out everybody else's flaws and saying that you need to abide by these laws in order to be good, or in order to validate yourself before God. That's not what the new covenant Christianity is about. What it's about is accepting the gift of grace that God has extended to us and allowing him to, have a relationship with you and to move forward. And the way this guy talks about Christianity, I could see why it would sometimes turn people off. It's not to say you shouldn't be disciplined or you shouldn't adhere to what it says in the Bible, but also a house divided shall not stand. How are you a Christian and Dion's a Christian and you're critical of Dion, who's another Christian? That's crazy. I mean, you're supposed to speak the truth in love and rectify things amongst each other, not demonize the guy and talk crazy about him just to get ratings or to be relevant. So for him doing that, I'm not a big fan. With that said, that's my thoughts on this whole debacle. I think Dion's son, Shedeur, should have been drafted at a much higher rate, if definitely not by the 5th round, at latest maybe the 3rd round, if that. But it is what it is. He got a job. He's got to work hard. He's got to show them that he is the real deal. And I believe he'll do just fine doing that. With that said, it's Mr. B signing out. Thank you for joining us. If you're not already a member or connected to the show, like and subscribe and also share. And also let your voice be heard. Comment, interact with the content. All right. With that said, have a good night. We out.
Part of my lane, big dog can't stop my flame. Big talk, don't bother with lames. Okay, this part of the game. Gotta take that on the chin. Gotta shake back, hold my hand though. Gotta play my part, no shame. AI when I slide his hand though. Really feel it, ain't no way I can be stopped. Might as well just let me rock. Where you at? On top, on top, on top. I get it, 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 get it on my soul. Ain't no letting up. I know. Time to step it up. Go hard, too hard. All I ever know. Hand on my heart. When it get dark, don't move.